Well, just working on the Belvedere. Just want to get the trunk cleared out. I've got a shelf set up here. Another thing that I highly recommend if you do take cars apart or do any projects or something like this, have a shelf or two shelves or whatever, any kind of just like section of space dedicated to one car. That'll really help just kind of keep things organized, and that's been kind of something I myself struggle with is keeping things organized, so trying to get better about doing that. So just a little piece of advice I guess I would share. It's a pretty obvious thing, but when you get excited tearing some car project down, you don't focus on what am I doing with this part, and am I going to be able to find it later? Where am I putting it? So just kind of a piece of advice that I figured maybe somebody might get something out of it. So, but anyways, I will get you guys set up on the tripod here, and I will start kind of digging through some of this stuff, show you guys some things that I find, and we will go from there. Got you guys up on the tripod. I guess let's just dig into it and see what we find. First of all, is the original tail light for the driver's side, and this was hitting the driver's side just a little bit. Um, this looks a lot worse than the quarter is really showing evidence of, but I guess we'll kind of see how it looks when we dig into it. Obviously, this will not be used because, first of all, the housing extension itself is obviously very damaged, and the taillight taillight frame, the chrome there is messed up, as well as the lens. So it's pretty much a throwaway, but we'll put that on the shelf because it's for the car. And here's the other side. The extension looks good. All four of the studs are there. Taillight housing itself would probably polish up okay. I don't see any damage to it. The lens is broke, but it has all of the chrome rectangles, so that's good to have. Here's another tail light, a right-hand side. Might use this one. The lens looks good. I don't see any major damage to it. All four studs are there. And the reason I keep mentioning the studs is because they break off very, very commonly. So it's just something to look out for. You can fix it. You could drill and tap and put a stud yourself in, but it's just better if you can use original stuff. And here's the other side from that same car, the left-hand side. Looks like the lens is good on this one as well, so maybe we'll use the lenses out of this. I probably actually end up using this quarter extension because the other one is obviously wrecked. Looks like two studs are there, no nuts on them. The bottom two studs are gone, but they're not broken or anything, so should be able to thread new studs in place, so that's a good sign. So, it's a backup light for the trunk. Looks like it's in decent shape. And obviously a lot of this stuff needs to be cleaned to really tell the condition overall. Here's a right-hand side, I believe, armrest with the ashtray and everything. It's really dirty, but it looks like it's actually in decent shape. Like the vinyl material isn't separating from the foam. That's something that happens with these a lot. So that's nice to have. That, I'm not saving that. That's a piece of the Belvedere 2 side molding. I do have a full set and a half at least in the other parts car, so I'm not worried about that. I believe that was a door piece or the quarter piece, I'm not sure. I'd have to look. Some interior chrome. It's a power steering pump. It's probably the original to the car. Here is both of the moldings that go on the C-pillar, kind of where the quarter meets the roof, so that's nice to have. They look kind of faded and pitted, so I might find different ones, but if I can't find different ones, I could use those. Here's some more interior trim. That's what most of this is. Like here's a pair of the interior trim. I think that goes either above the windshield or maybe it's a back window piece. I'd have to look. I don't remember off the top of my head. And this is actually the first time I'm working on a 66 and 67 style B-body. So a lot of this and a lot of these parts is new for me. I want to say, well, that's back window chrome there, I think. Not sure what this piece is. I'll have to kind of look at between the other parts car and some reference images. I can probably piece together what at least most of this is, and here's the other side of that trim. So that's good stuff to have. And when you're looking at a project car and looking to buy stuff, the most important thing is to try to buy something that's as complete as possible, because I know a lot of people that have to buy a parts car or spend months and months, if not a year or more, just searching for parts. I'm fortunate because we're in the parts business, so I have all that kind of stuff, but it's still something you should definitely be mindful of. So there's a trunk latch. Here's another armrest. Here, armrest base. Here's the other armrest base. Pull up the armrest we found earlier. Here's the glove box trim. It's actually in good shape. It's got one broken tab. See, these are held on to the glove box itself with these tabs that go into this, and this is just plastic, so they do break. Looks like there's a broken one here and a broken one here. So this could be repaired, or I'll probably just end up using the other glove box. And these are fairly easy to get. But you can see right on it has the Belvedere 2 emblem, as this was Belvedere 2. So it's a neat find. If nothing else, it's at least good for the emblem. So there's another armrest. And the other armrest base. Well, that's good stuff. Here's a headlight bucket and inspection cover. So we'll see if we can use that stuff. And there's a headlight and another armrest base. I think there's like 5 or 6 armrest bases in this. I'm using like 2 cars. Here's another headlight bucket, the other side, for the bigger outer headlights. There's a window crank, and it'll have the window crank on the one side, so here's the other side. There's an old front or rear window seal. That's not really good for anything anymore. Set that up there. That's all old and brittle and cracked. Here's the other reverse light that goes in the trunk, but that's missing a lens. And missing the plug, where the wiring goes into it, into the little spade connectors. Here's another window crank for probably the rear. Maybe the other one was from a rear, I don't know. More Belvedere 2 trim goes around the gas cap. Which that's something that's really hard to find. It's really hard to find gas caps for these cars for whatever reason, I'm not sure. I think they made a lot of Belvedere 2s, but for some reason the gas cap goes missing. Here's a pickup and sending unit, and that just fell apart and crumbled. That's not good for anything, it's junk. Here's a horn. I don't know if that works, but might save that. I don't even know if we'll put a horn back on the car or not. It's kind of just, you're not ever really probably going to use it, but it's nice to keep. Here's an exhaust piece. That's not going to be needed. So we'll put that up there. And there's a bunch of just like little cardboard and paper, and here's another interior trim piece. It matches the other side we already found. Here's these are really kind of cool. This is the Belvedere 2 chrome emblem that goes on the front of the fender. And it's like a glass piece that goes here. It's a black background, but it says in silver, it says Belvedere right on it. And then it says the 2, the Roman numeral 2 right there. So that's a cool piece. I know where I can get more of those. They're not too terribly hard to find. And this is going to be staying the Belvedere 2, as I've mentioned in previous videos. The trim and related things are going to be going back on it. Here's a gas tank strap. It's a little bit twisted on the end, but I suppose that could be reused. And if you decide not to use them, they're pretty cheap to get anyways. So there's I don't know what that is. I'm not sure. Here's some little wiring for, looks like maybe a dash light or a door light or something. I'm not sure what that is. And then there's just some kind of, like, that was some kind of probably air conditioning. Yeah, so like air conditioning fittings and related hoses. That's not going to go back on the car, obviously. There's a belt. Actually, it looks like it's in decent condition. It's not bad to have kind of some miscellaneous belts around, even if it's just to get something running. Obviously, I wouldn't trust something like this long term, but not a bad thing to have. So let's get this tire on here. I thought it might actually be a decent spare. Nope, that's not good. It's obviously not for the car. It was a 14-inch Opar rally wheel. They didn't come out with those till 1970. So, and then in here, like there's a latch. And then there's a lot of like these body plugs and stuff. They're not really good for anything anymore. They're old and brittle and cracked. And there's some like cardboard or whatever, different, just trash. It's like the spare tire hold down bracket. That's useful. And then the spare tire mount is still in place. All these body plugs and miscellaneous junk. Yeah, a couple of little bolts and stuff, and I don't know what that looks like, one of those kind of spring bases for like an antenna. So that's kind of interesting. So yeah. And I don't know what this is. It's a door handle. That might be nice to actually put on because there's no door handles on the car right now. And there's no doors on the car right now either, so it doesn't really matter. And like there's half of a light bulb. There's like the foam gasket that goes between the body and the tail light extension housing. So mostly just some miscellaneous junk. Like here's a piece of wire from something, and nothing very interesting. No crazy finds or anything like that. So I guess we'll just kind of leave it at that. I'm gonna run through in a minute here and run the vacuum through here, and I'll show you guys once I get this cleaned up. Well, took the vacuum here, the shop vac, and went through and vacuumed out the trunk after taking out a bunch of little bolts and pieces and miscellaneous kind of junk out of there. As you can see kind of how cloudy it is. Maybe you can if you can't, but definitely stirred up quite a bit of dust. So, but everything in here looks actually better than I expected. And wherever there's built up dirt or whatever, I just used this kind of soft bristle brush and just loosened it up. So I could get as much of that out as possible. So trunk looks really nice. I don't see any holes, so that's good, other than obviously the body plug holes. Miscellaneous hardware and stuff that was sitting in here. There's a bunch of these nails. No, those are screws. A bunch of these screws. I don't know if that's for this car or somebody that was using screws that own the car. They're all like this. They got like they got threads only on probably the last third of the screw, and they're like a stainless kind of finish, so that's kind of interesting. There's like 10 or 12 of them in there. I don't know what those are for, but it's definitely interesting. And then got the Pentastar. I didn't know if that was going to be around or not. Obviously it was off the fenders, so that's a cool find. And then this it's upside down. They had this emblem on a lot of them. It says V8, the letter V, and then actually 8 spelled out, so that's kind of a unique thing they did. I know they did them on the 66 and 7 cars. I don't know about later than that or not. I know they did them on the Dusters, the later Dusters. I've seen them on that, but the later like 68, 69, 70 B bodies, I haven't seen them on that before, but I could be wrong. So the only damage in the trunk to deal with is, I don't know if you can tell on camera, but this portion of the trunk here is pushed up. So gonna have to probably just get hammer and a block of wood or something like that and just knock it down back as close to back in place as possible. I'm not at all worried about this. Like I said, this is not at all going to be a show car. It's not at all going to be anything that I'm going to be popping the trunk and showing the beautiful craftsmanship. Yeah, it's going to look nice, but it's not going to be this just like jaw-dropping thing, obviously. So there's a little bit of a kink there, and a little bit on this side. I don't know if that's factory stamping. It looks like it's pushed up. So we'll have to, like I said, I'll probably just get like a block of wood or something along here, and then along here as well, and just push down, knock it down as best I can. Not sure what happened to cause that. Probably just ran over some kind of a stump or something like that. Because there's not going to be good enough light to show you, but there's no damage to the back. There's no like hit in the back that would have caused that to maybe push up or something like that. So obviously it was some sort of hit, some sort of trauma from the bottom. So that is the rest of the story as far as the trunk goes. But I guess I'll probably just leave it at that. I don't want to drag this on to be like a 35-minute video or anything like that, because if I was to do the interior, this will probably be 35, 40-minute long. So I'll just do the interior in another video. So you can see in there, that's what you got to look forward to. And let me know if you like or prefer the kind of me setting up a tripod and actually watching me work on something rather than me just doing basically just like update videos. So I could try to do that. It's a little bit more work because it involves some editing and related things, but I think it would make for some better content. So we could definitely look into doing that if that's something you want to see. And then also I cleaned out the trunk gutters. They're really nice. A little bit of surface rust there. Paint's a little bit flaky, but it's not anything bad. Trunk gutters are really, really nice. So I'm happy that that is like that. Looks like somebody already took the weather stripping off, at least mostly, you know. There's like that. It's probably, when it's not compressed, it's probably almost half-inch thick weather stripping that goes there. So that stuff's kind of a pain to get off if it decides to really stick. So somebody already did that for me, so that's nice. And yeah, I'm very, very pleasantly surprised. I honestly expected there to be maybe a couple of pinholes in this area, or maybe even in here, because this was all full of junk and I couldn't see in there. So that's good. And then all these ribs in here, these are all good and clean. So And what I'm going to end up probably doing is I'll have to get in here with my sander in any of the flat areas and just kind of scuff that up, get it all smooth. But as far as like in these ribs and related things, I'll probably just end up using a wire wheel. And I'm not going to get all of the original white paint off probably, and this is just the trunk. I know the best thing to do is to get all of it off, but at the end of the day, this is going to be a driver slash drag car. So it's not going to be this show car finish. And it's actually, I'm sorry I keep just rambling on, but it's nice. Somebody took, or at least maybe it just fell off, but somebody got most of this seam sealer off. And if you ever dealt with that seam sealer before, you know it is a pain to deal with unless it's really dry and cracking and falling off. So that's nice, and that's just a pain to deal with. You'd have to get a scraper or else like melt it off with a torch or something. So nice to see that that's already taken care of, and things just kind of keep getting a little bit easier and progress just keeps on going a little bit further. So we'll just keep going one day at a time, one piece off the list at a time, going towards the No Name Nationals, and we'll get this done. And that's pretty much it. I'll see you guys in the next one.